lane.
I'd say picks for sure, because Viper is going to go look for counter picks. He has counter pick here on 5, so now FlyQuest has to recognize. I think when they go in 4-5 pick, they'll ban specifically Viper type of champions. So you might see Vayne banned when we get to that point. But for now, the Thresh makes a lot of sense. Aphelios and Jinx are still available, so they're just trying to go for Aphromoo's best champion in the Thresh, and also just knowing that they can make bot lane as strong as possible here. So works for them.
Definitely pairs well with a lot of the meta AD carries right now. Caitlyn is busted, and so you shouldn't see her very often. But beyond that, your 2-3 spots looking like Jinx and Aphelios. Some people are playing Jhin. Like, there's just a lot of mobile AD carries right now who are going to really benefit from having Thresh as their partner. Yeah,
I think the next 2 picks here from FlyQuest should just be Jinx and Zhao. You know, answering the Lee Sin pick. You could even go Viego. It's up to JoseDeodo which matchup he wants, but Zhao seems to be the better engaged type pick. So I would expect that to be the options. When we go to 4-5, that's where the creativity will come in.
They're swapping between them.
I think that. There we go.
Baz gets what he wants.
Definitely feels like Xin is a little bit higher priority for most teams globally that I've seen. It is one of the ones that they tend to first pick, because then it works well with most of the enchanters that you're kind of seeing in the bot lane. So, you know, obviously with Thresh, it's great. But when you have the Lulu paired with it, or some people are going Yuumi, like those are all making
Leona. I just love that champion. Watching the Hens play it just last night as well, getting some work done around the map. But as you said, Mark, Aphelios, Jinx, the natural 2-3 behind a Caitlyn who already found herself on the ban table. But both of those immobile ADCs, one of them is going to have the safety of a lantern. The other one, not so much.
Not so much. And honestly, I just like what TSM's doing here, just putting players on their comfort. Hyper, #1 champion that I know him for is his Lee Sin. He's just, I would say Lee Sin is his best champion. And then the Leona is something that I've seen from Yursan quite a bit, but also it's just ways to start fight easily, especially since the last game was just difficult for them to do that.
I'm not sure if there's a bug in the draft order just because we already see the Leona, but I'm surprised to see the Victor banned over the Corki, to be quite honest. I think Corki, like, especially with the multiple builds you can go with him, is just been proven to be such a menace.
Do they get rid of both then? Is that showing their hand that it's just like, actually, let's get rid of both?
That would be weird to me, because toucouille, the big thing about him is that he's kind of a control mage player. And so you think you would kind of opt into this and
it's the Vayne.
You called it, Raz. There you go. You got your
Vayne. It's the Vayne.
Thank goodness.
Gotta love it.
The other thing that's up still is LeBlanc.
But see, to me, this feels so natural then. You banned out the Victor, you left up the Corki. TSM's like, great, we'll take that.
FlyQuest should be happy, much like what Mark was just saying. LeBlanc is now a pick that you can go towards in this matchup. Oh, it's been the Syndra. So Syndra's still fine here. Now I'm looking at FlyQuest's 2v2 through mid. All the action should be starting from Syndra and Zhao. So we'll see where we can span round from this one. Let's see.
3 seconds to go on this final pick here. Oh, sorry, the Syndra hadn't been locked in yet.
I am kind of surprised.
Yeah, the bar's moving. I was like, okay, well, they're really letting this one run down in the end. But okay, waiting on the final pick now.
I would like a frontliner, so Ornn comes to mind. If you've banned out the Vayne, then you can pick something more tanky. That would be my takeaway. I don't think they need anything there. Gragas.
Ooh, I love Gragas.
Yeah, the Gragas is nice.
There's been a lot of really nice tank items. The Winter's Approach turning into Thimble Winter. I always mess up that name, thank you.
It's the greatest item name in the game, Thimble Winter.
I really just like what I've seen out of Gragas top recently. The new items really help him out, and he can abuse those pretty hard.
Now, does Viper...
There we go.
That's
Ooh, Corki top.
Corki top.
Ooh.
We already saw Broken Blade play
and his range AD carries top lane, man.
Yep, let's go.
I didn't even have to ask the question. I was going to say it would just go for Jace or something like that, but no, it'll be a Corki going to the top lane, as we expect, with the LeBlanc
I like it.
filling in mid against that Syndra. Yeah, overall, what's the call?
It's fun. I mean, like, so obviously we already talked about, you know, Viper taking this matchup, but like, the thing with the Corki top, we did see it earlier today in LEC. I'm just happy that this TSM lineup, like Raz already pointed out, just seems to be going for comfort. Like, what are they comfortable on? What do they think they can play?
I also got to agree with the LeBlanc pick is something that I'm more excited to see Takeover on. I was watching him in Academy a little bit last split. He came in the middle, had a pretty good job once he came in, and I like seeing him on more aggressive picks. So that's why I like the LeBlanc swap away from the Corki even.
Yeah, and it's the classic Lee Sin LeBlanc. So if you're just
Heyo.
talking about something you've played
Make
numerous
something happen.
times, this is it.
This is a combo we've
Yeah.
seen for many, many years here
Yeah.
in League of Legends. Team comps are locked in. The teams themselves are ready to go and loading onto the Rift. So that's my cue to hand it back to our casters for the call.
Thank you so much, Dash. We are back. I'm still Captain Flowers. That's still Kobe. That's still Azael. And we're about to jump into our third game of the day. And as FlyQuest takes the Rift here for the first time in 2022, we want to send a very heartfelt happy birthday from all of us here on the casting team, on the production team, on the broadcast team, on the LCS team, to Trisha, the CEO from FlyQuest. Keep doing awesome stuff over there. Happy birthday.
I mean, man, she's been around in esports forever. She was in the StarCraft scene. Now she's, leading FlyQuest as well in League of Legends. So one of the OGs when it comes to esports.
Happy birthday to you. And stop.
Okay.
There we go. Perfect. Cut that
Definitely
one
don't
out.
want to hear any more than that.
Exactly.
Exactly. We gave them the hint that we were going down that
Ears
road.
start to bleed if it gets much longer.
Absolutely. All right, gentlemen. Well, here we go. Second game of the day for the side of TSM, looking to redeem themselves a little bit after having to go up against the full 100 Thieves Championship roster, and they'll be dealing with FlyQuest here.
All right, so Gragas top here for Kumo. It's pretty cool. Viper, is going to be playing another marksman up in the top lane, first strike against these beefy melee champions. You can sometimes farm a lot of gold off of them, but it is Comet here. So I'm wondering if it's going to be full AP for Kumo, and if that is the case, can get pretty dangerous going up against Gragas, who has great gank assist, and Xin with that early power.
Yeah, I actually have my fingers crossed for the tank Gragas with
The slash for laning phase of the Comet.
Yeah, if you go for rushing Turbo Chem Tank into Winter's Approach and upgrade it into Fimbulwinter, Gragas no longer has mana problems, plus is a very reliable engage for the late game. And look across at what you're facing on TSM Academy.
Yep.
If you run this full tank Gragas into that team later on, you will control objectives. You will also get way easier positioning for the Gragas to hit your ultimates on the Aphelios, which will be the #1 goal.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's a really, really strong, consistent build. But as you see a lot of times in in LPL and in some of the other regions, when they're going into ranged top laners without a huge amount of sustain, you often see AP, and people feel like they can abuse that with Qmax and Comet. So I'm going to be interested to see if we get that early tier, then go towards, as you're talking, Fimbulwinter, Chemtech as well.
Meanwhile, in the mid lane, another fun matchup to talk about, because I feel like there is a little bit of emphasis on Syndra having a big backbone in these matchups versus LeBlanc. Because if you crumble to some of the offensive ganks and plays that the LeBlanc tries to set up early on, then it can spiral out of control for the Syndra. But as long as you stand strong in the trades and you hit back with your scatter of the week, and you keep your pressure back the opposite direction, you keep her chugging through potions, keep her guessing for the Xin Zhao possible ganks, then you can stand a very, very good chance here towards your level 6 power spike and put a lot of threat that way. Meanwhile, TSM, they invested so much in their champion select. This is Hyper on his Lee Sin, Takeover on his LeBlanc. Like, two of their most preferred champions in one of the best mid-jungle ganking combinations that you can have.
And it'll be a good first test here for toucouille, who's coming over, and there's pretty high expectations on FlyQuest for him. He's really known as a control mage expert. People have talked very highly about his skills on that, really kind of likening him to a PoE style player. Can be very good individually, very lane dominant. A lot of LEC mid laners even talking very highly about him. So first test for him, and Jose is going to have to try to get there and defend him.
Koi gets away from the Sonic Wave Resonating Strike damage, but it still has the gap closing from Hyper to put some good damage into his health bar after the fact. Meanwhile, it's Aphromoo coming up the river now. They'll find Yursan here inside his own jungle, forcing him to flash away. Wind becomes lightning. No reason to follow further. Free flash there.
So the issue with that play from TSM is that as Hyper is rotating over, Takeover uses Distortion and Chain. With his Distortion Chain attempt missing onto toucouille, then Hyper's kind of sitting there, he's he's like, well, I guess I still go for it.
Just get him
but
dunked.
there's no real threat, because you still have the cooldowns already burned for LeBlanc, so there is no LeBlanc follow-up. In your very, very powerful mid-jungle duo, half of the cooldowns have already been burned, so that's why toucouille no sweat off his back, walks away, doesn't have to burn flash or anything, even though Hyper does get in. That's why I think if there was a little bit more coordination there, Hyper goes in first, you wait a couple more seconds as Takeover for Hyper to get the dash in into slow, gives you a better chance of trying to hit your distortion chain. Maybe then you get the summoner spell out. I still think toucouille is going to be able to get out alive, but
well,
this
he
time,
does get rooted. Sonic Wave resonating strike in its first blood over to Hyper.
if at first you don't succeed, just do it again, okay? He lands a distortion chain this time around, and toucouille doesn't flash because he doesn't see the follow-up. He doesn't see the Lee Sin. This time, you wait till the chain lands. That was very intelligent from Hyper. He doesn't show himself, because if he had showed himself too early, then toucouille does flash the end of the chain. But he thought he wasn't in danger, doesn't flash this. Hyper comes in afterwards, and they quickly make good on that play.
Yeah, and Yursan coming up from bot lane as well. 3 men mid. A lot of emphasis on trying to pressure toucouille here in that mid lane, and they're able to make good on it, getting the kill onto Hyper, and we'll see where they can take this.
Whoop. No death sentence, no zap, not getting a whole lot out of that, but at least they'll stop the backs. Do want to comment, as we did see Kumo just go back and shop, use his teleport to get back into lane. It is the tier immediately in the inventory, as well as a Ruby Crystal, suggesting more health items to follow up thereafter. Aphromoo now going to lead the way as JoseDeodo is down here, and they're ready to try to make some sort of a move onto Yursan. Remember, there is no flash available on this Leona, but he is so damn tanky. They didn't get the last hit in time. It'll be a 1-for-1. Take us back, bottom observer, take us back. Johnsun's now going to be taken down next, you would have to believe, as there it is, 2-for-1 now overall in the game. 2-for-1 in the trade, 3-1 overall. TSM feeling great about this. toucouille's going to get the solo kill as he levels the 6 and takes down Takeover.
That's that backbone in this Syndra matchup. You stand in the minion wave, he gets the level 6. With all the extra minions, he gets the level up, ultimate down, kills off Takeover. He's right back in it, Azael.
Man, yeah, Takeover thought he had him. He flashed right in, trying to hit those skill shots, and Kumo now getting a little bit aggressive here.
Viper, he loses half HP, but not a whole lot more.
Meanwhile, yeah, that bottom lane, that play was not done because when Hyper comes down lane, the safeguard shield forces Johnsun to flash forward to finish off this first kill. I'm dying, so Azael, take it away.
Yes, sir. In they go. They get in on. They're able to punish Leona for actually, missing that flash. That was the flash that they forced out a little bit earlier. But it means, as you said, Johnsun has got to flash forward to get it, and then there's no way out for him. The Lantern's on cooldown, and they're able to just donate this kill over onto Instinct, get that onto the Aphelios, and then here's this fight. The final minion, that final minion in the middle of minion wave there, as it goes down, 6 instant level. All the orbs are already down on the ground there. Drops the ulti, and that tiny bit of experience was really what changed the fight. That's a big kill back for toucouille, who's been focused heavily, and again, 3 men mid.
Well, let's see what else we get here. Hyper looking once again for the FlyQuest mid laner. TSM's gold advantage is just that extra kill they have over their opponents. It's not like we've had a lot of advantages built up in terms of farmer objectives or anything yet here, just about 8 minutes into the game. We've got Yursan still hanging around. He will be on top of a control ward now, just waiting for him to notice and clear that one out. Decides to sweep to make sure there's no normal trinket wards there either. Hyper still hanging around here in mid lane, not afraid to sit in that brush for a while to try to find this play.
Yeah, spending a lot of time down around that mid lane. Now going to move up towards the Herald, but we have to remember, this is the TSM squad that just about got perfect game by 100 Thieves earlier, so already off to a much better start here against FlyQuest. And this is FlyQuest's LCS team, right? This is the Academy squad here for TSM, so they are going to feel really good about the position that they are in this early on. Corki's kind of just chilling in the top lane, scaling up. Goes for a very early Hex Drinker, so getting pretty defensive, knowing it's going to be magic damage for Syndra, magic damage from the Gragas. Wants to just be able to safely scale up, get that tier stacked, and hopefully have a really big impact in the later stages.
And I really like the trade that TSM opted for there. Hyper, I think, uses a pretty good move here, going for Kumo's back time, starting up that Rift Herald. Getting first Rift Herald versus getting first Dragon is, I think, extremely lopsided towards the Rift Herald team. And because it is so much early game gold, which can turn into so much more power than just a single Drake, which is no guarantee of stacking or anything like that. Plus, considering you're the ones with the Lee Sin, LeBlanc trying to get all these plays off the ground early on, to really be able to capitalize on those. is a very good macro choice here from TSM, opting into this side. So he gets the early recall off. I've just been impressed this game by Hyper on his Lee Sin, so definitely delivering thus far. The next step is quite big though, because he needs to make a proactive play with either your mid lane or bottom lane, and then off of that kill that you're hoping for with trying to get a gank off, then utilize the Rift Herald to really cash in and blow open this early game so you can accelerate the pace before FlyQuest get to utilize their tank setup there, where, again, it is probably going to go for the Turbo Chem tank into the Thimble Winter, a build for Kumo, in which case you're going to face a much more difficult setup to the team fight, so TSM definitely looking to keep on pace for this.
And as he went down to try to make a play in the bottom lane, Yursan, remember, still only level 5 here on the Leona. He's been doing plenty of roaming around. Part of that attention towards mid lane, having that support go up there means you're not in lane to soak the EXP. So not having a solar flare from that Leona means there was no play to be found down there. Back here in mid, toucouille with 86 farm, Takeover with 86 farm. You don't get much closer than that. As they try to trade those spells back and forth a little bit, toucouille not finding a whole lot there. Finally hits the W with a Q follow-up. Hyper's in the top side river, seeing if there's a play to be made here. Takeover jumps in with a double distort, finds the chains down onto the enemy mid. But as the ulti comes out and Aphromoo shows up, TSM doesn't commit all the way just yet, but now they're ready to go. Aphelios ulti comes out, but it only finds JoseDeodo. Now they're going to look for Yursan here yet again. He tries to get away, but Aphromoo locks him down.
Yeah, and TSM may be getting a little bit predictable here. They're just non-stop going towards mid. FlyQuest had the read, and they punish.
And that was a secondary re-engage from TSM. It was a very good outplay, though, on the disengage. The Koi stun into Aphromoo hook in, even at range, able to get the kill in the numbers disadvantage. Just such a massive outplay. That means you win bottom side passively. Jinx gets to get turret plates off bottom side, farming up extra money, plus then you get the priority on the map to get your deeper vision down. There are just so many big ramifications for winning a mid game at 11 minutes in, a 3v4 towards mid. Getting the kill and the priority on the map have just such big domino effect across here. Meanwhile, on the top side, Kumo has been doing quite well, dealing with the top lane. Corki there from Viper. He just wants to be this tank when he joins with the rest of the team. He's got both summoner spells available. We're still only just cresting 12 minutes, so won't be able to teleport to the rest of the team for another 2 of those minutes, but is going to have every playmaking tool available when they do join the team.
Yeah, I wonder if he's actually going to hold the TP for Dragon Spawn, because Dragon Spawn is going to be right when the TP does actually unleash, and if he can just clear out this one wave, then base immediately walk back. You might lose a plate, might lose a wave, but you are playing more for the team as this pick, so it's more okay to give up a little bit of that individual gold. And nice try there. I mean, if you catch Corki on that Falcon, knock him back to the tower with body slam, he's probably dead with tower right now.
Yeah, the tower aggro already being on him from the proc of the Gatling gun there as he tried to push the swap because Takeover. They're going to at least drop that Rift Herald there in mid. They're going to get the guaranteed 2 plates out of it, but nothing more. Hyper is stepping forward here. He is a level down compared to Jose, who will be able to successfully defend his blue as Kumo is ready to rotate over and help him. But this bottom lane tier 1 turret is in a lot of potential trouble here. Johnsun has to pop the cleanse to get away, trading that one away for Instinct's ulti.
Nice little try from Instinct, though. Just Gale forces in, trying to go aggressive. The insta-root under tower does get cleanse out of Johnsun there. And if Johnsun doesn't react appropriately, you could potentially get a kill. Plus, this means it's going to be no cleanse for this dragon if TSM wanted to actually contest it.
Yeah.
And Yursan will have his ultimate for that.
Yeah. I do also put a very high value on Gale Force active. This item to me is straight up mandatory on AD carries now. I know that the goal for design is always to have perfect viability of all the different choices, but let's be honest, overwhelmingly, Gale Force has risen to the top 4 AD carries because the active has so much playmaking ability, both defensive and offensive there. Yeah. That's also a pretty big one, and it's a much shorter cooldown, but Cleanse is also decently short as far as summoner spells go, at least.
Right, it has 180 or 210, one of those two compared to some of those longer timers like Flash or Teleport. The timer for the Dragon, however, is very short, my friends. 5 seconds remain. First Drake of the game was the Hex Tech going over to the side of FlyQuest. It's TSM who have control over the bottom side river now as the second Drake spawns. Viper is already walking down here. He has no teleport ready to go for this, so he has to hoof it down. Package is ready to go too. Takeover at only half HP. Viper hitting level 11 here as he rotates down. Means those rockets are going to be that much stronger. Poke will be that much more effective. Takeover still at half HP. He's gonna get stunned up. They're trying to lock down Kumo, who's now trying to get away. Takeover's clones, the only thing in danger is Kumo and JoseDeodo, both taken very low. FlyQuest's front line has been gravely injured, and the Dragon is now the target of TSM. Smite comes through and lands true, hyper secure in that one. They try to go back and defend their Corki, but Aphromoo with the flash engage. Support is so easy, dude! FlyQuest get one!
What a hook there from Afro going in, finding the Corki. Viper trying to flash out on the back end of it, but now JoseDeodo staying too long.
JoseDeodo falls to Hyper as he gets too greedy on the back end of the fight. Aphromoo now being caught out as well as Instinct picks up another, and TSM love the end of that fight.
Gale Force on cooldown, baby. I love this item. The playmaking for AD carries. Instinct, no hesitation, plays right off of just that. And again, this guy is so young, coming in just now, joining TSM Academy from 100 Thieves Next, from Amateur. He's showing no fear on the big stage here. Comes up with another play after the fact, and even though that was FlyQuest, with the flash Aphromoo chain, getting 1 kill after the play, remember, because of this engage with the Corki, with the package, so much damage done to the front line, that they actually weaken them heavily enough to take the Dragon first. And it's in the chase here where FlyQuest playing off of toucouille stuns, so Aphromoo flashes to follow it up with the hook to draw them in, and then the greed starts to creep in, and 2 kills get chased down by multiple TSM members. Hyper picks up the one onto Jose, and then Instinct as well onto Afro himself, knowing there's no flash.
But mid lane, Instinct, goodbye, shut down by the ulti from toucouille.
toucouille playing it really well, getting pressured heavily here in the early game, and now he's got a bounty to his name. He's already has an item completed. Some more stacks on the Dark Seal, looking good.
Yeah, LFL import shining here. So many of these plays have again been started up by his stuns. The mid one we talked about, you put emphasis on the 3 versus 4 outplay from FlyQuest, started up by the stun, disengage from him into the hooks from Aphromoo. The combination of these two with their CC locking has been a bunch of the plays for them. Rift Herald number 2, definitely not as high of value, of course, because no turret plates, but still very necessary in trying to push for that turret. Again, first turret bonus at least is still available, even though there's no turret plates that you can mine off. Turret plate bonus is about a plate anyway, so a little bit of extra gold goes there.
We've got ourselves a nice, close game, 17 minutes in, my friends. 1 Drake for both sides, 5 kills for both sides. Everything's feeling like a level playing field. So what is the moment that we're looking for to really break this open one way or the other?
Well, guess what? We've got Chem Tank active for Kumo. This Gragas is ready to be that frontline engage we're trying to build up for them. And there's no flash on Instinct. He has had a tendency to constantly use his Gale Force for offensive plays. So Gragas would love, dream scenario, be able to try and find this Aphelios alone, or even with some teammates there. No flash means that's a playmaking opportunity to set your team up for a very big advantage moving through. toucouille is going to get solo turret gold on the bottom side of the map. He was already the richest in the game, by the way, on this Syndra. So playmaking can come from him just as easily as it can actually come from this Gragas with the long-range Syndra stun. Definitely finding its mark thus far in the game.
Yeah, and I think on the other side for TSM, you're looking at Yursan, you're looking at Hyper, who just gets caught now.
Oh, nicely done. They'll get half his HP. They use the Ignite and Hyper stays alive. Didn't have to use his flash to get away from that one, but now with Herald summoned up mid, FlyQuest is making a pretty big play here towards this turret. Takeover's coming around from the side as well, but he won't be able to stop much. We'll see if FlyQuest want to escort this Herald further forward, try to get the damage onto the tier 2 here as well. It is pretty dangerous. TSM are ready to defend if they stick around longer. Nope. The Herald turns around. Instinct can hit the eye. They will not get any value onto the tier 2. And everybody from FlyQuest now backs together, recognizing it is under 1 minute before the next Drake spawns.
I mean, TSM really want to be taking down this Syndra. Doesn't have a Gale Force or a repositioning tool, isn't playing Cleanse or Barrier or anything defensive. The Jinx is going to be the harder target to actually lock down, but toucouille has been positioning himself very, very well. And he's not just staying out of the fights, he's positioning himself right on that edge of getting engaged on, where you can still be hitting your spells, adding value without being easy pickings.
Well, we're back out onto the map now for the side of FlyQuest. They will have priority over this bottom area. They're the ones who already have a little bit of vision in the river, and they are closer. TSM now coming out of their base as well, heading down this mid lane. I'm expecting another fight here for this Drake unless somebody just gets randomly picked off. Scuttle Crab is already up. Aphromoo and Kumo should be able to secure this one for their team. Package, once again, ready to be delivered here from Viper. FlyQuest in that river. Yursan goes over the wall. He'll find only Kumo. That's not the target they need. Johnsun loses a quarter HP to a single rocket coming out from Viper. This is the power of that Corki with a poke. And this is the power of the Gragas here with the engage. Yursan's going to be taken low. Aphelios ulti does not hit anyone. Takeover down to below half HP now as well. Hyper looking for a good target, and he knocks toucouille right back over the wall. But the flash to escape is not enough. They take down the enemy mid laner, and TSM is on the hunt.
Reset.
Shut down back over to Johnsun. He's got the first, but he won't find the second. It's jungler for mid laner. TSM with better health bars, but FlyQuest still have a jungler.
And in the end, TSM, well,
not
never
done.
mind. We're going to teleport fight. They're coming up the river.
Aphromoo dies for free. Viper grabbing the kill on that one. JoseDeodo going right back in, but he won't be able to kill Viper just yet. Heal keeps him alive. Kumo looking for anything he might be able to find. Goes in for the body slam on Takeover, but some nice juke boots. Gets him right out of that danger. TSM outplaying on the back end of the fight.
Yeah, very good communication on their side and map awareness. They see by scrolling over minimap, you can see teleport coming through bottom side, so they charge right back up mid lane to make an opening for themselves. Yursan as well getting out with the Hex Flash, and it seems like TSM have gotten out of that one without huge ramifications. I mean, remember this all started out with Kumo making the flash play onto the Corki that has package though.
Yeah.
The problem with that is, even if Corki doesn't see it coming and react to the flash immediately and use the package there, he still uses the package afterwards and gets out, so you don't get your immediate pick off the Gragas play. And that's why it resulted in so much pressure on toucouille afterwards. They pressure the FlyQuest carry. In the end, even though TSM got a bunch of the kills, FlyQuest will get the objective though.
Yep, Kumo having his TP available, being able to rejoin at full health, kind of dissuaded TSM from really going further and trying to start this out. And here was that initial engager talking about. I think Kumo thought he was going to be able to get the 2-for-1 here on both Yursan as well as Viper, but Yursan already had the Zenith Blade attached, so he just kind of rides that in. Viper has the package to get out. JoseDeodo gets pushed really low. Johnsun has to flash out really very, very early. And then toucouille getting kicked back in there by Hyper. He flashes over the wall, but Lee Sin's still there to finish.
Yeah, I think pretty good positioning there from Hyper to separate the team fight, get out the Syndra out of position, cutting it kind of in half. They dealt damage through the front line. Here's the reaction though. They go charge right back up mid, a little bit overzealous by FlyQuest on their positioning. They jump the gun as far as...
Well, we already got a play here in mid. Johnson's taken down to almost no HP, but Viper might just die here with him. JoseDeodo grabbing that kill with Hyper chasing back the FlyQuest carries, and toucouille will die next. JoseDeodo being chased down now. Hyper continuing that chase here, has the red smite to keep the fight going. JoseDeodo tries to get himself away, but Instinct is coming around from the side, and Yursan's got the flank. Hyper don't even need him. One more hit ought to do it. There you go. Tempest gets it, and that is 1 for 3. TSM win another fight.
And they've got control of the map now. There's so much vision for them to clear. Are they actually going to try and make use of this death timer? 27 seconds on Jose. They can transition over to Baron. Takeover trying to finish off mid-trip first. 20 seconds left on Jose, so timer looks good since you've got White Gun for Instinct. He's going to have a lot of damage.
Yeah.
He was the only one on Baron, though, so he did get hit with the damage-reducing attack. It's not going to matter, though, as teleport comes through. Kumo tries to stop it, tries to delay it.
Kumo's disrupting everything that he can, but he's one man against 5. Baron down below 3,000 HP. Enemy jungler nowhere nearby. Super Mega Death Rocket's one of those abilities that sometimes steals it, but not today. Baron at 23 minutes for TSM.
These TSM Zoomers are looking good, man. Pushing FlyQuest here to the brink. They have a 3K gold lead. They have the Baron, and the item completions here are coming through. BT finished, Void Staff finished. TSM, they were definitely the underdogs coming in here with their full Academy roster, going up against 2 LCS teams today, but looking good against FlyQuest.
Yeah, I'm definitely liking what I'm seeing, especially from Hyper on his Lee Sin. A lot of playmaking ability now also afforded by a stopwatch. So keep him coming. He's got flash and stopwatch ready. With this Baron buff, we expect the 4-1 to be able to push up to both of these turrets here for TSM. They've got package safety from Corki in mid lane, so you can easily usher up the minion wave while you wait for bottom wave to get there. You collect a lot of that standing gold, inflate your Baron power play, get your bottom outer turret collected. LeBlanc a bit more fed. Since you didn't get actually any of the kill credit to take over yet, you get a bottom side tower, plus you get him to level 16. Then you've got the real threat of the bursting LeBlanc and stopwatch of his own for the safety to go for the deep play.
Yeah. All right. I mean, 16 on both these solo laners is going to be really big, right? Get level 16 for Corki as well, going for that poke style of build. FlyQuest setting up a bit of a pick, though.
Yursan gets hit by the death sentence, but they know they can't burst that Leona down safely, so there's not any real threat here. FlyQuest still just trying to dig in and defend here against the next 90 seconds of Baron for TSM.
And again, TSM are splitting 1-4, so they're gaining advantage just pushing up the wave with their Baron buff. Corki moves mid-wave up while the rest are kind of staying out of engagement range from FlyQuest.
Holy man.
One rocket definitely leaves a mark there.
Half his HP, just about half. Either way, Johnsun does not want to be eating any more of those here for a while. Bottom side, Instinct getting away there with a defensive Gale Force. There's more of that value you were talking about on the active of that item, especially for immobile AD carries. As Yursan gets his Hex Flash over the wall to continue maintaining a position for an ambush or a playmaking situation here in the enemy jungle. Hyper finds Sonic Wave, doesn't need Resonating Strike on the enemy Zhao, as Viper will continue applying pressure on that tier 2 in mid lane. It just does so much damn damage.
It's brutal, man. I mean, it's also one of those situations where it's like, you know you need your IE, right? But you really are tempted to go towards a little bit of sustain, because until you have lifesteal, you just can't do much against this. At that sort of health, you get hit by one rocket, you lose 40% of your HP. LeBlanc can 100 to 0 you from there. Well, the rest of
60 to 0
60 to 0 you from there, I should say. So that is terrifying for Johnsun.
Yeah, with a lot of trending towards scaling, towards some late game, we've seen so much emphasis on range. Range in the late game does so much for you, makes your opponents have to react to your play, because you can fish around for a lot of these things. Very low cost abilities that have very long range. It can have very high value if just one hits. Zoe is one of the ones people are most comfortable with, most familiar with, but especially Corki with these AP builds. Very low cost of throwing out a lot of these rockets and finding so much advantage through hitting those onto low health carry targets from the back lane means, guess what? They get their gold from the towers as well as getting the dragon.
Playing topside too.
Okay, toucouille, he'll get back towards JoseDeodo. He should be fine here. I don't think anybody's in a whole lot of danger of dying, but for TSM, they've stopped the soul stacking, and the dragons are back to an even state.
I love that from Jose, showing his mid laner the way. Come to me through the jungle. I'll walk you out of this dangerous top lane split push. They're able to get him out of safety. Little bit of an answer there, trying to get some opposite side map play. That's what you kind of have to do in that situation. FlyQuest reaching for something, but these TSM Academy players are really showing up in game number 2. Game number 1 had to go against the LCS champs, got trounced, and yet not deterred at all. Now in a very good position here.
TSM with that 5,000 gold lead, 5 turrets versus 3. Next, Baron's going to be alive in a little bit over a minute and a half. So they don't have to be on that top side anytime right now. Still, all 3 inhibitor turrets standing and standing strong for the side of FlyQuest. So that inhibitor line not being broken yet is a point of defense they can rally around, but they've got to be so careful. The power of Viper on this Corki, Death's Dance completed makes him harder to burst even if they catch him out, and it means that he's just got that much more damage to keep these rockets going. They're not that threatening on Kumo, but anybody else, they're scary.
Yeah, I mean, Death's Dance is pretty atypical. Usually you see Ravenous Hydra with this build, a little bit of sustain, a little bit of extra AD there in for the poke, but
and that AoE feels so good too.
Death's Dance still going to be a pretty solid buy, but it is a lot of physical damage. Maybe getting a bit more worried about Johnsun, who is going to be, I think, one of the big threats here for FlyQuest, has the IE complete. So from there, you're expecting him to go towards BT, and then maybe can start to shrug off a little bit of this poke that's being thrown at him.
Yeah, of course, the big pro of going the Death Dance route is, of course, going to be that damage delay and that sustain.
Yeah.
Because you are going to constantly be hitting multiple members. So if anyone goes down on the opposing team, then you cleanse the 30% damage that you've stored up, basically, and you've been delaying. So it provides a lot of tankiness and sustain for a solo lane Corki level 16 with a lot of offensive power. All you really have to do is get one, take down, basically kill from anyone on your team getting anyone, and you'll have so much survivability with it, even having gone the first Eludens Echo, early on.
Now this situation is scary for FlyQuest. Baron has just now spawned. TSM is already there. They've used the blue drink and it's been revealed, but Viper's got package. This is so difficult for FlyQuest to walk in here because they know it's going to be a bad spot. JoseDeodo already going to be engaged on here, but he uses the ult to get out. He'll be fine, but I'm more worried about how he can play the subsequent team fight now. He's in a lot of danger. Takeover's here off to the side. Package does time out, so at least that's not up for TSM anymore. FlyQuest happy about that. Hyper, he gets hooked. There's no follow-up there. FlyQuest is deciding, okay, forget it. We can't go towards them in the Baron pit. Take the tier 2 mid. I like the call.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just smart, standard League of Legends. Play through mid, force them to respond to you. They get that, and now in trouble here. It's going to be a stopwatch.
Okay, there's your Sterix. There's your stopwatch. There's your follow-up route into the Chompers, and oh, baby! FlyQuest find the enemy jungler.
Such intelligent responses from FlyQuest. TSM Academy in this very nice winning position, priority over on Baron. They stop the Baron, they push the minion wave, drawing them to the minion to answer mid wave, and are able to find the pick with flashes blown as well. Definitely big value here, blowing the stopwatch. Yeah, Hyper's actually going to upgrade it pretty quickly here into Guardian Angel, but still finding that pick. And finding the follow-up there from Johnsun with the choppers. Stopwatch doesn't actually provide you that much defense when you're against these AD carries that have ground-targeted CC like Jinx or Caitlyn.
Yeah, it can be tough to get much out of it, but still, nice pick, and just a bit of a greedy path from Hyper does get punished. FlyQuest with a good response, and Johnsun hasn't faced in quite some time. It's just to see how much he has, kind of expecting BT, so yeah, it is going to be the BT build, and he already has enough for the Vamp plus the BF, so a big buy for him, and he is significantly ahead of where Instinct is at this point. He has nearly 70 more CS, so has really been getting that farm, and TSM has been spending a lot of time kind of grouping and pushing together, looking for these fights, but that does mean you're sharing more farm.
Yeah, and one of the big things FlyQuest emphasized in their offseason was the synergy between Johnsun and Aphromoo. Johnsun wanting to be reunited with Aphromoo in the bottom lane. They've had such good history together on Dignitas, such a good opening showing for them. Both of them in this game as well. Aphromoo with the playmaking. Johnsun now is his time to shine and sew up when he gets completion on his 4th item. But TSM are going to move right back over to Baron, reclaim that vision control, and actually not even sweeping here through. The controller does go down, but it is going to alert FlyQuest. They've got to get here in response. It drops so quickly.
FlyQuest is on the way. Takeover's looking for any sort of a flank here as people come up, but it'll only be Kumo walking past him. Both of our junglers have anti-death mechanics on them. Sterix Gauge is ready to go. It's a stopwatch for Jose. It is a Guardian Angel completed now for Hyper. Lots of defensive tools. I'm expecting a smite fight here if it does get taken all the way down. FlyQuest still looking for their chance. Yursan goes in, but he's immediately getting bursted. Stopwatch coming out now as Johnson's going to be taken low, and Takeover goes over the wall here for the shutdown on the enemy AD carry. TSM found one, but what else are they going to get? Toucouille gets kicked right on back, and Instinct's ready to go. The plays are being made, and FlyQuest loses their carry.
Beautiful LeBlanc late game play from Takeover. The coordination here from TSM, talking about this setup the whole time. Takeover walks all the way around through FlyQuest's own blue quadrant, patiently waiting for them to go contest this Baron. The rest of the team, TSM, they know they're not burning this down. They're trying to draw them out, and Takeover waits for its opening onto Johnsun. And look at the bottom of your screen.
Yep, he finds that chain, but that's something that Johnsun could have flashed. He didn't actually realize that he was still chained, I think, there. He had the flash, he had the cleanse, he stays in range, maybe that locket giving him a bit of a false sense of security, but the chain proc itself is so much damage this late in the game. It was a good 700 plus damage onto Johnsun, snaps his neck, and gives TSM the Baron there. They're in full control now. IE gets completed, stopwatch for Instinct, so he has some real oomph behind these autos.
And now with a Baroned up TSM, with having these tools, this powerful 3-item power spike Aphelios, the Corki that's nearly full build, This is where we really want to see if TSM can break open this base and crack through this inhibitor line here on the side of FlyQuest. They have a 7,000 gold lead to work with here. They have 2 minutes left on their Baron buff. They'll continue pushing tops, applying a little bit of pressure here. They're still waiting on Viper to be able to join up. He was back in the base. He's now coming back out onto the field. And then once they have him, it looks like we have a 3-2 split right now, but it'll go back to 4-1 as Takeover joins with the rest of the team. FlyQuest is all in survival mode right now. They have to weather the storm of this Baron and try to stop TSM from taking everything else from the map.
It's getting tougher and tougher, though, as the walls are kind of closing in here. Kumo going to look for some sort of an engagement. Packages available, so really that's all you do is force that out. And with 2 members showing mid, TSM push heavily on that top side. They knock down the tier 2. Kumo trying his best, but tank Gragas just doesn't clear the waves quickly, so he's got to get back to base and maybe just regen back up, which means they're going to lose that mid tower.
Mid tower down to 10% HP. Couple more shots from that cannon minion takes it down. Inhibitor exposed here in mid lane. Top lane tier 3 turret, 2/3 HP. TSM going to continue applying pressure in 2 separate lanes as they've done this whole time. Instinct providing the damage, Cannon's helping out. Hyper leads the way with Yursan right next to him. Both inhibitors here going to fall almost simultaneously. Kumo trying to be that point man, trying to be that spearhead here, looking for anything, but there's nothing to be found. Nice stun there onto Hyper, who does get right back away. Yursan looking for anything here, but doesn't look like they find a whole lot they can follow up on as Hyper jumps right back to his teammates. Takeover keeping those cannon minions enchanted. They find a knockback onto Instinct. Beautifully done there with a flash from Kumo. That'll take out the TSM AD carry and save what's left of the base for now.
That was that goal of this team for the entire game that we've been highlighting. Try and get that flash play onto the Aphelios. And he even does it when the Aphelios does have flash. Really good opportunity there, but it's just so late that you're already in a really big hole. You're playing against a level 18 fully scaled full build Corki. Viper is a monster at this point in the game. As that solo lane, so much pressure. 2 inhibitors down also mean there's just so much map advantage from TSM being able to push fully through mid and top. Even though FlyQuest are set up here for a possible soul point, it's still a very dangerous situation for them. Maybe, best case scenario, they're able to get in here, they snag the kill onto the dragon, they pick up the soul, and they can win a courageous team fight. But it does look difficult to try and set up the map to give you time to actually find the perfect engage. So they might have to take something that's less than perfect and just jump on it if they want to actually win this game.
Yeah, we'll see if they even want to challenge, right? Because it wouldn't be soul for TSM, so they could just say, all right, let's just chill, give us some more time, keep farming up, get the 6 items on the Jinx. You have good wave clear there. And if you can eventually get that soul, we'll see if Kumo's in a bit of trouble here, but has some assistance coming in.
They're really looking for him. They only got about half his HP. The big man's walking away. TSM really wanted anything they might be able to find there. They don't get a lot, but they have pushed FlyQuest back to their base once again. Now the thing is, with the Baron gone, it's easier for FlyQuest to clear out these waves, defend this last remaining tier 3 turret. The super minions from the other 2 lanes are still only at about the halfway point right now. Drake spawning in 40 seconds, Baron in about a minute and a half. As TSM continue to control the entirety of Summoner's Rift, they're not done with this bot lane push. Hyper still has his Guardian Angel ready to go, still has Steric's Gauge.
Yep, TSM, they're just trying to play a little bit slow here. Continue to fish with Corki and poke. As long as you don't get hit with that CC, then you will gain the advantage. The map is yours. Super minions right through mid lane, right down top lane here. Allow them to pull back off. They'll pick up their own dragon number 3, get to their own soul point, and then can get back out to pushing. For FlyQuest, it's so difficult because the cooldown on your flash for Kumo is so long. It's really hard to replicate those late game plays with any sort of reliability. Without it, you're just relying on the chem tank active. Good job there from Hyper walking away from the dragon, absorbs it, makes sure there's just 0 chance of any sort of steal, and they pick up their objective afterwards. But yeah, without the flash, Kumo is going to have to get real sneaky to make that sort of play.
And I'm curious to see if they're actually even going to try to contest the Baron, right? Because the Baron's up in 30. They are getting some vision in the left side, of the map, trying to get it out around their blue buff, getting some wards down from where they could potentially check in on if the Baron is actually being done. So maybe going to try to do something there, because I do think it's going to be really hard to hold on if you actually give up yet another Baron with 2 inhibitors open, those would go down quick. The third would feel like a bit of a foregone conclusion.
It's one of those tough situations where fighting them in open ground 8,000 gold down feels bad, and then defending in your base and giving them the Baron also feels bad. Which one of these feelings is slightly better? That's what FlyQuest has to decipher, and the decision they're going to have to make here with the Baron live on the map yet again, and Takeover pressuring the bottom lane. He's got teleport ready if he needs to join up in the team fight, but for now, he's making sure FlyQuest have something else to stay thinking about.
On the bright side for FlyQuest, if they can force a play, if they can find this pick, either, Kumo fishing around, making a sneaky play, or maybe even more likely is toucouille finding a stun with the Syndra. If they rush in and they force it and they win the team fight, the reward.
We're already ready to go. Viper goes into the back line.
No, he's
Viper
down!
instantly dies. Special delivery of int. What was that? Viper! He throws it away, but it will scare them back. TSM right back onto the Baron now. Bottom lane is still Takeover versus Kumo. Takeover maintaining control. Super Mega Death Rocket coming in. JoseDeodo here looking to lead the charge. Yursan comes back out. Hyper and Instinct stay on the Baron. Remember, Hyper still with that Guardian Angel, still with a Sterix. Looking to see if there's an angle to be made. Instinct tries to find some sort of an angle. JoseDeodo goes in. Hyper's going to be the target. No third hit for the knockup. Aphromoo at 100 HP. Kumo trying to join up in the fight now as Takeover's also rotated over into the fight. Now he's stunned down to Hyper. TSM doing well here in a 4v5.
This is insane! The back and forth fight, it's just not ending. Kumo and Takeover fought all the way from bot lane up to the Baron where the fight never even stopped. And now JoseDeodo will spot that they're off it, but this might actually make TSM just walk into the pit and start it again here with that white gun. And if Jose tries to get some wards cleared, he's gonna die potentially.
You need Thresh with you. You need Aphromoo. Without the Thresh Lantern, it is so dangerous to fish.
Oh, well, he sees Yursan's silhouette there now in the sweeper. But now with Baron at about half HP, dropping quickly. How far does TSM want to commit for this? Kumo's going to be your target. JoseDeodo here in the front now as well. Going to be taken pretty low, but he gets the Sterix, keeping him alive. Hyper tries to get in, gets right back out. JoseDeodo here in the stopwatch, staying alive a moment longer, looking to get away. Hyper goes in. Sterix makes sure that he gets right back out. Takeover now, continuing to duel with Kumo. TSM disengaging off to the right. Takeover's still alive, but how much longer? He keeps trying to get away. The rocket does not do enough damage, but the big man belly slam does. Kumo gets him as Instinct is over the wall. FlyQuest have lost 1, TSM have lost 2. The fights remain on a knife's edge.
This is so fun. The late game fights over these end game objectives. If they're able to actually win this fight, the rewards could sweep them right across the map the other way for FlyQuest. Such strong contest here. So many outs. Aphromoo roams up here on the Thresh. Teleport comes through with Syndra. So TSM, they have to respect being grouped up inside the pit, the all-in, so they just immediately try and turn. Jose then ultimates Instinct back into the pit. It both protects him from the damage and keeps Instinct inside the pit. Dangerous opportunity for him to go through. Viper comes through with the Corki on the outside, and they try and get the surgical removal of the jungler, but can't quite finish it off.
Yeah, and credit to Johnsun, really fast flash there. As we saw Lee Sin flying in looking for the kick flash, but he flashed preemptively, so we got kicked away instead of into the team, or they would have been just dead. And now FlyQuest onto the Baron.
I also got to point out, Kumo flash body slam perfectly to get past the LeBlanc clone and hit the real LeBlanc there. Avoided the hitbox beautifully. FlyQuest now having that Baron at 4K. Hyper's ready to go. This could be the smite fight. This could determine a whole lot. They try to knock Hyper into the pit to kill him off, but they can't find him. But they will find Yursan. Kumo gets traded. Front line for front line, but that Gragas was so important. They found Hyper. They're going to pull him right back into the fight. He gets locked down. Guardian Angel, proc now. He'll come right back. But is it going to be enough? Hyper gets away. Viper is still trying to find that little bit of hope back and forth and back and forth. As Instinct is mid lane, pushing up the wave, getting that one cleared. He's got the blue gun. JoseDeodo tries to get away here. Aphromoo going to be taken low. Takeover not with enough damage to burst him all the way down. The Dragon is alive. Ocean Soul is the goal here for TSM. They may not have had a decisive battle one way or the other, but it went enough their way to get the soul.
And they get that soul, and that is huge. These two teams have been battling back and forth for it. will FlyQuest just start this up again? I think they will. It's desperation time. They realize they just gave up the soul. They know they could be in trouble. But Corki, I think, has package just based on how fast he's coming out of the base, so they're going to have to back it up here. Not going to be able to go for that either. And it's just been these back and forth counter barons trying to get an edge in this game, but neither team able to really seal the deal.
Now, one of the problems I'm seeing immediately with that Ocean Soul going over to TSM, FlyQuest has no Grievous Wound applicators on their side. The Baron is just melting in front of TSM. An Ocean Soul, a Baron, no healing reduction on the enemy team. This is scary for FlyQuest.
Oh, we made it interesting. They made it fun. Now FlyQuest are really going to have to pull something out because now you're facing Ocean Soul regeneration on a team that already is trying to poke around with Corki rockets and try and avoid the all-in. FlyQuest, they don't have flash on Kumo. Again, this is one of the best tools that FlyQuest have had for playmaking abilities to get that engage that they want. TSM now are going to be very annoying. With Baron empowered side lanes, if they're able to play their lanes correctly here, and the regeneration with the Ocean Soul, it should be so much overwhelming slow pressure here from TSM that FlyQuest are forced into this corner. That being said, their teamfight is still good. FlyQuest, if they can actually get the engage and lock someone down, then they can get Jinx excited. They can get, you know, that possibility of a takeover for a team fight. But TSM have the extra cards here, pushing the waves with their Baron. 4-1, LeBlanc in mid, rest of the members moving straight up top lane.
Yeah, and FlyQuest has been shuffling around those items. We see now it's a Hurricane swapped in for the Rapid Fire. He moved over to a Maw instead of a GA. Death Cap is now done for toucouille, so they do have what they believe to be the ultimate late game builds here. It's in one of these unique situations 45 minutes in.
Well, here we go. The defense continues. Top side, that inhibitor falls. TSM cannot be stopped from taking that one. They will rotate their guys over to the mid lane to help Takeover get rid of this one as well. 2 inhibitors once again gone. Takeover loses half HP there to the Syndra ultimate. Hyper's gonna be knocked back and stunned, pulled right back into the fight, but it's not the fight they wanted. Kumo melts in front of TSM. Yursan will be traded back as Hyper looks for the back line, but he's not ready to deal with Jinx. Johnsun's ready to go. He tries to fire off the zap, but he can't quite find instinct.
And Hyper went for the big play there, but it was a misclick. He tried to go for the Warthog kick flash onto Johnsun. He got Aphro instead. They were all stacked, and you've got to be so precise with your mouse when everyone is stacked like that. You don't get the Jinx, you die, and you look silly doing it.
Certainly do. It also means TSM have to call off their push. They did get 2 inhibitors down, though, so you can return straight to that bottom lane. 30 seconds means the Baron will time out before they actually get up to it, but super minions are going to help you in your siege. You're trying to play the long game there. Again, keep distance for TSM, play slowly, try and find your advantage with your poke before FlyQuest get their engage. And FlyQuest, they're trying to push it ahead here, buying some time by getting these super minions pushed well up above half map.
It does make you a little bit nervous, though, because they've had 2 inhibs open and down, you know, for so long, right? And now you had the Baron there. You failed to close with Baron and Ocean Soul. Elder's coming up. Elder trumps all, right? You know, if you give over that Elder to FlyQuest, they can close out the game potentially.
And guess what? Your boy Kumo is ready to roll with the flash. See if he can find a high priority target to get this started off. They've got so much confidence. It's toucouille and Johnsun carrying through these team fights. See if the front line can do their work in setting them up.
Instinct has the Gale Force. He has both his summoner spells, but remember there's no sort of a QSS, there's no Guardian Angel, no Immortal Shield Bow, anything like that. So that means if they can catch this Aphelios, it could be what they need. FlyQuest have had their backs against the wall for so long now, but have dragged this game out to 48 minutes. 1.5 minutes until that Elder Drake is live. 2 minutes until Baron. TSM pushing down bottom lane. If this 3rd inhibitor falls, the difference in pressure between 2 and 3 inhibs down is massive. FlyQuest wants to protect this.
You also have to account for the 2 Guardian Angels on the side of TSM. Not only do they have the super minions coming on the top side of the map, but a Guardian Angel for Viper buys so much time, as well as Hyper having one for the front line. So they're looking for the slower advantages, pushing in. If you get all 3 inhibitors, they buff each other up. It provides so much late game push here.
Well, here we go, Hyper! losing a ton of HP immediately. Johnsun, however, also now down below half thanks to the poke coming out from the Corki. Third inhibitor will fall. FlyQuest cannot protect it without the Jinx
Nexus
being ready to go.
towers.
Viper's taken low. Nexus turret number 1 dies to the massive minion wave. TSM is winning through the advantages they have set up for themselves in the other lanes. All 3 inhibs down, 30 seconds until the Elder.
Yeah, and they got to go to this Elder now, try to set it up and close it out. Johnsun has sold the boots, picked up a Mortal Reminder. They also have a Thornmail done on Kumo now, so they do have some serious heal cut. It's always risky, though. It's a hard decision as a Jinx to give up that move speed of the boots. A lot of players do favor that, but as far as straight-up DPS, he is going to be unmatched on the map. They've just got to create space for him to be able to attack.
Problem for me is with 3 inhibitors down, it is a multiplicative effect, and so your time is cut down to basically 0.
Yeah.
We talk about choosing your opportunity. You don't have any time. Super minions are going for the Nexus turret, so FlyQuest have to force. Every second you spend outside of your base not clearing supers gets you closer and closer to the lost screen. So they have to force the Elder Dragon starting to burn down.
1 rocket from Corki was half of toucouille's health. FlyQuest moving in for the Elder. They know they got to do or die right now. TSM wants to be die. TSM's going for the TP here into the end. Oh! Death sentence. That's got to be the end of the game. Takeover's trying to stop him. Teleport coming in, trying to shut it down, but the only thing shut down is toucouille. TSM are looking to win the fight, win the game, win it all right here. FlyQuest fought so valiantly, but they will not survive. TSM, 50 minutes in, takes the win.
Congratulations, TSM put in their Academy roster. First game, a dud. Slammed by the LCS champs, no problem. Coming back here in game number 2, though, working through a 50-minute game with all the late game